I made every investment in my portfolio owe me 4%. I've given every investment in my portfolio a job. It has to produce an income for me. I've set that target at 4% a year. But there's a twist. I'm not just building a normal dividend portfolio. I've got dividend stocks, I've got growth stocks, and I've even got a couple ETFs as well. I've created a system where every single one of them has to contribute towards the same income target. Currently got about £13,000 invested, and I'm going to run this for many years. So today I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing, why I've done it, what I'm hoping happens to the portfolio over time. Welcome to the dawn of dividends. So let's start with the portfolio. I've currently got £1,000 invested into 13 positions. That gives £13,000 in total, and I've deliberately mixed together companies that have completely different approaches to returning money to their shareholders. I've got PepsiCo, Nvidia, Walmart, Realty Income, Coca-Cola, Apple, Main Street Capital, and then there's 2 Vanguard ETFs, and then there's Alphabet, Microsoft, JP Morgan, and Amazon. So this isn't a traditional high-yield dividend portfolio. I've got companies that pay relatively high dividends, companies that pay much smaller dividends, and Amazon, which doesn't currently pay a cash dividend at all. I've also got VUAG and VWRP. These are 2 accumulative ETF, which means the dividends generated are put back into the portfolio automatically. It reinvests all the funds rather than handing out the cash to the people who own them. Here's the basic rule. For every £1,000 invested, I'm targeting 4% income per year. So that's about £40 per £1,000. With £13,000 invested, it gives me initially about £520 a year, which is £43 a month, or about £1.43 a day. But I'm not leaving it at £520 forever. I'm also increasing the target over time. I've set the increase price at 4% per year, and instead of adding it once, my spreadsheet compounds it daily. The reason I'm doing that is simple. It's trying to protect the purchasing power of the income, because £40 a year today isn't going to buy the same amount stuff in 20 years, 30 years. Now, 4% isn't guaranteed. That's not perfect to match inflation. Inflation can be higher or lower. It's a simple rule that I've chosen for the experiment, so it requires my income to keep increasing over time. Now here's the part that makes it really interesting. What happens when an investment pays me more than my target? Let's say one of my investments generates more than its required amount in dividends. I don't simply take all of that money as income. I take the amount I've allocated as my income, and the excess goes back into the portfolio. So if an investment's target is £40 and it produces £50 in dividends, the extra £10 will get reinvested, which means the higher income investments actually help increase the size of the portfolio. But then when we have the other side of the equation, what happens with something like Amazon? Amazon doesn't pay me a dividend. So if I simply followed a normal dividend strategy, I would get nothing from it. But my system doesn't care whether an investment pays a dividend or not. It cares about the target income. So if Amazon owes me £40, I still want that £40. The difference would have to come from selling a small amount of the investment. And that's a bit I really want to test. Because this really isn't about dividends, it's about total return, which is why I've got 2 different types of stocks. The dividend stocks, which will pay me a cash dividend, which, as I mentioned, the surplus will get reinvested back into them if they exceed my goal. I've also got the growth stocks, who will hopefully still grow in price, and I can use that to actually sell and provide a sort of fake dividend is what I'm calling it. But the question is, will this actually work? Right now, the portfolio is only worth £13,000 and very much at the beginning, but this is where I think the experiment gets exciting, because I'm not interested in what happens in a month or 2. I want to see what happens over years. What happens if this £13,000 becomes £20,000? What happens when it reaches £30,000, £50,000, and eventually £100,000? Because I reached £100,000, my starting 4% income would be £4,000 a year, roughly £333 a month, and that's a target that will continue to increase over time as well. But there's a catch. The portfolio has to keep growing, and that isn't guaranteed. Imagine the market crashes. Let's say I've got £13,000 invested, the market falls by 30%, suddenly I've got closer to £9,000, but my target income doesn't disappear. So that could mean I have to sell much more of my investment to produce the same income, and that could make the recovery much harder. This is one of the biggest risks that I'm going to have to be watching. Because an investment strategy can look fantastic when the market is rising, the real test happens when the market falls. So I'm not going to hide the bad periods. If this all goes wrong, I'll show you. And that's the whole point of this. I'm not sitting here with £1 million portfolio pretending I've already figured everything out. I've got £13,000. I'm starting from here. I'm going to document what happens. Every dividend, every withdrawal, every reinvestment, and every new investment. And how much the portfolio is actually worth. I've got my next £1,000 investment already planned, and I'll keep adding to the portfolio as the experiment gets bigger. So that's the system. For every £1,000 invested, I'll start with 4% annual income target, but I'll be increasing that by 4% per year, compounding daily. If an investment produces more than its target and exceeds that amount, it will go back into the portfolio. If it produces less, I make up the difference, and if it produces nothing, I have to sell a small part of it. The goal is to create an income while still allowing the portfolio to grow. I genuinely don't know yet whether this is going to work. This is why I'm doing it. I'm going to run this experiment for years. So right now, the portfolio starts around this number, but it will continue to grow as the channel grows. Maybe one day I'll be sitting here talking about a £100,000 portfolio. Maybe I won't. Either way, we're going to find out together. This has been the Donid Dividends. Thanks for watching.